Go on. How you doing, Dale? Nice to meet you. Did I meet you at the metal party or no?
No, we've not actually met. You met Glenn, I believe Glenn,
Or-
and somebody called Happening Harry. I believe you got mutual friends.
Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy? So this is wild. I've met Glenn without Mark, but he doesn't remember that. I met him in
Right.
Sheffield at the church house.
Yes.
Then I ran into him again at Nam, but he doesn't remember that. Then I went to a birthday party of his that I played, and Happening
Yeah.
Harry connected us, and then he kind of remember that. So it's not funny that you can meet people. I mean, I between you and me, with all due respect, I didn't remember meeting him, and then I started clicking. Fuck, I remember meeting him through different friends in the. So I have a lot of heavy
Yeah.
metal friends, and they
Yeah.
all congregate in the same community. So we've been in the same room a bunch of times.
It's a small world, isn't it? But
It's cool, man. It's cool, and especially the metal world. Everybody has this camaraderie, so it's pretty cool.
yeah. Well, that's what I love about the metal world. It's very inclusive. It's we all look after each other, which is great.
Yeah, yeah, and it's been definitely a treat to be there. Sometimes I wonder what I'm doing there because, like, I'm not heavy rock, but I've been blessed to play with a lot of those cats in that era. So,
Yeah.
well, whatever. I'm happy to be there.
Well, you're Mexican and American musician, but you were born in Mexico, weren't you?
Now, here's the wild part. I always tell people I was born in Mexico, shipped from Hollywood, and distributed through the UK.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's how it went. That's how the career went for my band. You know,
yeah. Well,
so
that's one of my questions is, um, how does an American Mexican form a band in the UK? It's like,
this is what's strange, man. I mean, obviously, when I first started playing in my first few bands and stuff like that, the music that I was doing was in no way in regard in shape with what was going on in the 90s pop culture or the Southern California punk circuit. By that time, the heavy metal hair bands were gone. You know what I mean? They were gone. They were not in the Sunset Strip anymore.
yeah,
There was this new grunge era that came in. And I grew up listening to bands like The Verve, um, U2, obviously, the Stones, the Beatles. I never got too heavy into the mod circuit, right? I went more for the lyrics, so that's why I liked a lot of the British writers like Ian McCulloch from Echo and the Bunnymen. I just love the way they compose lyrics, right? Like the Cult. That's my school, right? And by default, growing up with that, there was not I was always like the weird kid in school that didn't make sense. It just didn't because everybody was listening to like Slightly Stupid, Sublime, No Effects, the Queers, all these heavy punk bands. Only 10% of my friends listened to like Guns N' Roses, Megadeth. What's Phil's band? Trying to think of Phil and what's Phil, the guitar guy, the really fast guitarist. I met him as Phil. Cowboys from Hell. Give me the name of that band.
Cowboys from Pantera,
Pantera. So that's when
Pantera.
my friends were like a small percentage of my friends were listening to that, and then I had no one to share this musical stuff with, right? So as my career, we're talking now 2002. We got an offer from Rough Trade Records, okay, for the band, my first band, to
Yeah,
move to London and develop us or develop me.
right.
And I didn't take that offer because I wanted my band and they just
Yeah,
wanted me. And so I didn't, an old camaraderie with fucking brotherhood, which I tell bands, take the opportunity, dude. Take it. I'm all down to later, what's cool? Later you can bring your friends, but
yeah.
take the fucking ticket. But, you're young and stupid in that aspect and loyal and all this crap. So that went through and I didn't take the deal. We continued playing shitty clubs where people didn't understand or like the music because they didn't get it.
Yeah.
Band breaks up, people get married, people get deported, fall forward, you're back again on your own with the guitar. You know, last night I reunited with a guitar that was given to me by an ex girlfriend. And what's wild about that is that that guitar got me through the breakup of that band, through my whole solo period, right?
Mhm.
And got me my first endorsement with Gretsch, the guitar company. And I reunited with that with a friend because I left it with him in 2015. And I said, hey, you know, I have some, like, I had left a relationship, so I didn't want my guitar. I didn't trust my partner with my guitars. You know, people are nuts. So when I left that guitar with him, and he liked it so much, he wouldn't give it back. He had a change of heart though, and we reunited. Last I hadn't talked to him in 6 years, 7 years almost. So we reunited last night in Vegas. I flew in for an hour, had coffee, picked up that guitar, and I'm here. Back to that story. After my solo period, I didn't want to be in a band anymore because I was making more money playing acoustic shows and stuff. And I get another call again from a record label in England. They wanted to talk to me about doing a band. Like, all right, I'll fly out there. Flew out, met up with the guy, RMN Records. Really lovely people, by the way. Owned by a bunch of Italian cats. Italian people love rock and roll and metal, man. They really do. The
Yeah.
Italians and the Brazilians. So he signs me, and he goes, "There's a problem, though. Like, we're not going to release you as a solo artist. We need a band name." I go, "Oh, again with this. Okay, cool, you know?" And so I go on, and he said, "We got an idea. You know, we went through your catalog. We love your catalog. Why don't we pick some songs from your whole catalog?" So I have a really robust catalog at that point. I had like 23, 24 records. This is in 2013,
Yeah.
you know? So I go, okay, cool, let's do that. We went through it all, and there were some cool songs. And he's like, we're going to go back in the studio to record and make an album so it's cohesive, and you just got to write a few more songs in there to make it a little bit fresh. I go, all right, let's do that. And they kept egging on about this band name. And I was like, man, they came up with a bunch of stupid stuff. And I just remember sitting down there. I was in Russell Square. They had this hotel called the Imperial County. Really crappy hotel, but really cool. The Beatles used to stay there because Brian Epstein would give them money. And I knew the story from Pete Best. Brian Epstein would give them money to go down there. And then they leave the nice hotel and all come into a crappy little hotel so they have more spending money, right? And they'd all bundle up together in one little room. So that was special. They by now that hotel's gone, but I got to live there too. And I was in there and I was eating breakfast, and I've never experienced this because it was my first time in London. And this guy, there was like I've never experienced like the heaviness of the Indian culture from India. And they're serving us. And then the fella is just standing behind me, like waiting to serve me. And that was so weird. And he would just stand there. And I was just getting agitated with the phone. And this weird guy, I just wanted to eat my cereal. And every time, like, I picked up my cup, he filled it up. And I was like, come on, man. Like, like, it felt weird. And he puts this newspaper down for me. Like, all right. It was just really weird, man. First experience. Open up the newspaper, and then the article on the cover was all of these doves fall over England. Oh, not England, Italy. All these falling doves and turtle doves on the second page. But the title page was "Falling Doves over Italy." They fall, and it was supposed to be this thing that it was like some omen, for the end of the world or whatever it was. And that stuck by me. So when the Italian guy called, "Oh, do you got a band name yet? We need to get this thing going for the contract." I go, all right, yeah, go on. Just Falling Doves, man. Just do that. Hung up the phone, really mad. The budget that he had for me to record, that's what I like about that label. They were able to work with me with the budgets they had, right? So they allowed me to be flexible using their money. So I said to the guy, I go, look, the money you're trying to spend on this record, I can get that done in LA faster and with cheaper musicians. The musicians in London, I go, that they wanted like 250 per session player. To us,
Yeah,
250 pounds. I go, that in dollars is like double the money. So I took the money, went up to LA, got a bunch of session cats to come in there, and we cut the record so it had like a band feel with the same people. Turned that around, they loved it, and then played a few shows and went back. And that's the
yeah,
story of the band.
that's brilliant. Because
Yeah.
you've got a young prodigy in your band, I believe, Katie Harold.
Yeah.
She's making a few headlines. So tell me a bit more about her.
Oh, she's great, man. So Katie joined the band, I would say about 2020. So we had finished, it would have been at this point the fifth or sixth like world tourish. And the bass player that had joined the band, at this point we became a three piece, which was cool because the cool thing about the Falling Doves versus other bands, man, is we're always like there's an evolution to this band where the music's the driving factor, right? But it changes based on membership.
Yeah,
And so now in that period we were a three piece. We went a little bit like more garagey underground goth rock. The bass player at the time got gout, really bad, severe gout in his feet, in his fingers, and here's the bad part: you're having so much fun that, like, you don't notice someone's in severe pain, right? But they're laughing it off
yeah,
because they're having such a great time, but in reality, it's affecting their health, right?
yeah,
So we had two close calls to two hospitals, one in Sydney and one in France. We took him to the hospital to get looked at because he was
yeah.
so sore he couldn't perform.
Oh dear.
Yeah, bad, 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 bad. And the doctor
Yeah.
comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, man, all jokes aside, if you keep taking this guy on the road, you could lose him."
Wow.
Yeah, he's like, it's gonna devour his liver because the mixture of the medication with his alcohol intake and the travel stress, he's like, this is just a recipe for death. So
Yeah.
he knew he needed to stay behind, and we met Katie because she was our percussion girl for some acoustic shows and merch girl.
Yeah.
And then she's a great singer. We're like, "Well, you're a good singer, man," but it doesn't really fit in to have a backup vocalist in some of the songs. But we brought her in as a special guest here and there. And eventually she asked, "Hey, can I take over on the bass?" I go, "Well, that's a little arrogant. Can I take over?" I go, "Do you play bass?" She goes, "No, no, I've never played bass." I'm hoping they're not going to start with the lawnmower over here. Might have to move roots. No, they're gone. Can you hear me or is it loud?
Yeah. I can hear you. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she decides to join in and starts playing bass. And I go, "Look, I had a prior girlfriend that played bass in the band, and I just had a bad experience. So I want this to be your journey. I'll help you with endorsements or whatever you need here, but that's got to be you got to take it on board." And she's like, "How
Yeah.
long do I got?" I go, "Well, the next tour is in March." She's like, "What do you mean?" And this was January. I go, "There's 60 songs you got to learn to come on the road." 60. Because I changed the set list based on the shows, the vibes, the bands,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I can change them live on the show itself. I may be able to, like, that's what makes the shows kind of cool. I am going to go inside because I feel like it's getting louder. Yeah. Give me 1 second. Say hi, Katie. He wants to say hello from the camera. He's asking about you.
Oh.
Hello.
Oh.
She's eating her
I
breakfast.
got a mouthful of food. Sorry.
So, ending of the story. I think they left. Yeah, they left. Ending of the story. That's how the story kind of plays out. Um, she took it upon herself, and I'm going to say this: out of all the shows we played in Japan, because Japan is the most obsessive culture about perfection and quality.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And she only screwed up one song, man. One chord in one song.
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, yeah. And the songs are simple, but the structure, I would say, it's kind of like old. Everybody thinks they can play Chuck Berry, right? Everybody
Yeah.
does until you actually sit down and do the details. I remember this documentary where Keith Richards was talking about playing with Chuck Berry. And have you seen that documentary where he's playing with Chuck Berry?
No, no.
Okay, it's called Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll. It's a
Yeah.
movie about like this big concert that Chuck Berry's going to play. And you got Keith Richards, you got all these guitarists, Jeff Beck, all these people that come over to play with him on a song or two. Kind of like the
Yeah.
Roy Orbison black and white video or black and white documentary. Anyways, so Keith Richards is playing the songs, and Chuck Berry comes up to him. That's not how the song goes. And, and he looks at him. He's like, Chuck, baby, it's just three chords. And he goes like, you do that again, I'm gonna punch you. And he's playing it again, and he takes the guitar from him. So that's basically so for me with our stuff, it's simple, but I hold on the chords a lot because it's melody and lyric first.
Yeah.
Chord structure is secondary as part of it. So that's kind of people don't get that. Chuck Berry was a great singer songwriter with a
Yeah.
little rock guitar.
Yeah. That's
Great
fun.
stories too.
Because when you started, you had Steve Poltz from Jewel and Phil Solomon, is it? Or Solomon from the Rembrandts who helped you out?
Oh, Phil Solem. Fucking hell. Okay. So I must have been about 19 years old, right? And I had been playing, like, got as far as I could with the guitar I had, right? And I was at school. I decided, okay, well, if I want to go to school, I need to, like, learn how to write music and composition. And also my mom, was like, well, if you're going to take this serious music, you gotta learn the foundations of the craft, right? And I will say I went to school, but it wasn't, I didn't really understand what they were talking about. And it didn't make any sense. And none of it was in any type of way relevant to what I was trying to do. But I sat through a few semesters and then came time for the thesis, right? And oh, it's so loud with that lawnmower. Uh, the thesis came and we had to do, I would say, a review on somebody that was related to our craft. We had to mentor them or be mentored by them. I feel like this guy's getting closer to annoying me. Sorry. And I end up going. He gives me this again. Again, the teacher goes, "Well, everybody found your mentor," and I go, "Dude, I'm having a hard time finding who I'm going to learn how to play guitar from." You know, and surprise, surprise, he goes, "Oh, look at the weekly newspaper this week. Take this newspaper, go see this guy," and he highlights it, and that was Steve Foltz. And I went and met this crazy eccentric dude who taught me about songwriting, and I got to spend time with him after the shows, and he definitely showed me the craft with the guitar. He got me my first endorsement with Taylor. As time went by, you got to know the guy, and he said, you need a good guitar, a decent guitar if you're going to want to get good, because it's like the way that you're approaching the instrument, you're trying to make something sound good that's crap. So you need to have something that's going to complement what you're doing. Your playing is overplaying your lyrics and your singing. And so he did a few of those little tidbits for me over the years and got me on board. With the Rembrandts, it was different because I was a fan. And back in the 90s, dude, you pick up the CD. People don't remember this, But back then, I think for people, you do, the younger generation doesn't. But we'd go buy our CDs at the music store or vinyls, whatever it was. For us, it was CDs. That was the craze in the 90s. And we go pick up the single, or the CD, and we read in the liner notes. And there was always a little place where you could write to the artist. And I wrote to the Rembrandts, and Phil replied, and he invited me to meet them at a show.
Wow.
And I got to know them, and he gave me the invitation of one day, like, coming to his recording studio, working on some songs. And they taught me the craftsmanship of fucking literally crafting a song in the studio. People don't know this about the Rembrandts because they're a pop
Yeah.
little rock band. But if you go to their story and you go back to where they started, they used to be in this band called Great Buildings. And I mean, they were around the era of Guns N' Roses. So their musicianship, their music had to match that era, man.
Yeah.
They were incredible guitarists and definitely right there like metalheads. But they turned
Yeah.
pop.
Yeah. I didn't know. I weren't aware of that side of them. I
Yeah.
might have to
Yeah,
listen to some of their earlier stuff.
yeah, yeah, like Danny Wilde. I mean, he could have been in he just has this falsetto that's very like 80s. It's very like I can't even think of what would be a great I think like out of the metalheads the softest band is what's that band that Nuno Betancourt is in?
Did the what? Sorry.
You know Nuno Betancourt?
No.
Extreme, right?
Yeah.
So in that vein, that's kind of the gig. And so he was very, very, very similar. I wouldn't say like Axl Rose, but definitely one of those big hair bands of that era singers.
Yeah. I might have to have a listen to that. You've performed in some really legendary places like the Viper Room in LA. Yeah, what's the best LA venues that you've performed in?
I've done you know what's crazy, right? So a lot of people idolize the Rainbow and the Viper
Yeah.
as these extreme, incredible places to travel to. Give me 1 second because I'm trying to concentrate, but I'm sorry, ladies, but I got to go upstairs because the lawnmower is really loud outside.
Yes, that's all right.
We tried. Thank you, thank you. And I'm visiting right now with Katie's family, so all right,
Okay.
way better. Now we can finish this thing. So a lot of people take for granted, like the shows that we play back home, and they're amazing. They're cool. They're really, really neat. But the reality with a lot of these things is a lot of these venues for us were like where we cut our teeth, bro. So they're like our dive bars in Hollywood. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
for outsiders, they got to pay all this money to be part of these showcases. You know what I mean? The pay to play. For us that are locals, they
Yeah.
just call us and we just go in there and just fill in and play whatever we needed to do. Even the Doors played the whiskey
Yeah.
over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
So they're just these glorified dive bars, is what they are. But for me, like a top venue in LA, man, definitely the Troubadour. That you really want to fucking crap your pants. You got to play that place. It's like
Yeah.
historical, man, and you feel the depth and I mean, it's you feel naked on that stage, dude.
Yeah. Because with the Viper Bar, one of my favourite bands plays there a lot, which is behind me, Kill Lola. They play there a lot, and it's something I see a lot of on videos, and so it resonates with me. A place that I'd like to actually go and visit.
Kill Lola is you need to come right away. So basically, I'm not sure if Kill Lola told you, but the Viper is on in a demolition era right now.
Oh dear, I
Um,
did not know that.
man, it's kind of heartbreaking because I support venues a lot, right? But this is
Yeah,
what's going on. So the reality, and now I can say it because now it's in the open. The reality is they're going to demolish it. They're going to put in a gigantic, a full city block, a brand new city block, like
Wow.
luxury hotel with some condos on the right, with the Apple store and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
uh, and what they're going to do with the Viper is they're going to reinstate it into that hotel, but it's not going to be what
No.
real new
No.
because they're going to
They're
they're going
not
to
going to
bring the
want that
capacity.
loud music, are they? If they've got guests there, they're not going to want loud.
Well, they're gonna make it more into a proper venue, man, like a 1,000 capacity venue. Right now, the capacity is like two
Oh,
fifty.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so they're going
Okay.
the other
'Cause-
route, and so
yeah.
that's not the same thing. You know what I mean?
No, I know. Because where
So
we live, a lot of the venues are getting turned into little apartments, and we're losing a lot of venues, sadly.
in Sheffield, you mean, or where are
Just
you?
yeah, just in. I'm in Chesterfield, just outside Sheffield, but a lot of it,
Yeah,
we're losing a lot of venues, which is very sad. It's a difficult time.
I wish I could tell you that it's just you guys, but it's not. We travel
Mm,
all over the planet, and one of the issues we've been having is that everywhere we've been traveling, right? Um, so we had a bunch, to give you an idea, we had a bunch of shows in Sydney for November. We
yeah,
had 13. Okay. Some of the venues we were playing twice. Um, 4 out of the 13 venues closed
wow,
without no notice. Okay. The other 4 or 5, the finances that they have is not sufficient enough to pay for us to be there. So the
yeah,
the big money ones are the ones that close for us, that pay us to play all the little places. So we're all tied in, dude. We're all tied in.
yeah.
People always
Because
think, oh, because they have the big venue. And the same thing happened to us in England. Locally, there's more volume in England.
yeah,
Australia's got an epidemic of the pokey epidemic, is what it's called. Places are swapping their bars for pokey machines.
okay, right. Well, in England, you played the legendary Marquee Club, the uh, Cavern Club in Liverpool, and obviously the Church House and the Yorkshireman in Sheffield.
Yeah. It's for us, Liverpool's been a second home between you and me. All the other places, it's been lovely to meet people and grow the community. You know what I do like about England is that the circuit is still alive and well. Like you can hop
Yeah,
on the rock circuit, blue circuit, and do your little tours, and you can still make a good living. It's
yeah,
not crazy money, but it's enough to pay your freaking rent, man. Two
yeah.
shows to care of your living. And so you can't do that even here in the States, man. I have to play here. Like I have to be very picky what I play here in America. So we'll play the casinos, or we'll play like benefits for like music cares or things like that are gonna help the community. Because same thing here, a lot of the venues have gone downhill. We were talking about the Viper Room, okay, and I'm not here to trash anyone, dude, but I've been playing there now, for years, and because there's this attitude of we're gonna close anyway, so why should we invest any more money in here, dude?
I get that.
I've played some terrible places in Latin America, okay,
Mm.
where the mic stands are being held by tape. There's no mic clip. There's something that they made or built to look like a mic clip, but it's not a mic clip. I don't know what it was or what it is. Came off of some toy. Dude, I went to play the Viper Room this year, and none of the mic stands worked. None of them had clips. The microphones were broken. Thank God I always travel with my own microphone. And Katie was like, "Oh, why are you being fussy about the mic?" I go, "Katie, I use my own microphone because I don't like the bugs." I remember looking at the microphone. It had like their microphone had like grime and
Oh,
dried phlegm on it, like that. And I go,
oh, oh,
"I'm
no,
not
no.
touching that." I go, "I am using my mic, and that's what I brought, and that's what I'm going to use." Like,
Yeah,
So that's where it's at right now, and I feel like if you're gonna play there, bring your own mic stands, bring your own mics, and
Yeah,
yeah, you shouldn't need to do that, especially for that type of place. And
yeah.
the sound was horrible. It's gone downhill, dude, a lot.
Oh dear.
But I
Oh
still, if
dear.
I were you, I would go and go to a good
Yeah,
show with a good name band. Because
yeah.
the local indie shows, unless you bring your own sound people, they don't sound good.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
I
that's
have
where
to
it's at.
talk about your big news, which is you're under consideration for Grammy nominations. I believe you've got quite a stack of them that you're under consideration for. Is that still ongoing?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we got six there. You know what's nuts though? I was thinking that since Katie joined the band and she's been helping with the paperwork and everything like that, 'cause she does more than just play music. It's been good to
Yeah,
have somebody behind the scenes helping with the business of running a band. People don't
yeah.
realize there's so many elements to it. And so since she went on board, all of a sudden now we have a total of, I want to say over the last, since she's joined, we're going to say easily over 23, 24 nominations, pre-nominations. Isn't
Wow,
that nuts for consideration? That's a lot.
that's
So it's
impressive.
cool. Yeah, it's cool
Yeah,
because you know that there's something going on okay in the music, and it's not your music, it's the
yeah,
state of the industry, man.
yeah. Because for the Grammys, you got Best Jazz Performance for Saki and Rain, and Best Arrangement, Instruments and Vocals with is that what I can't read my own writing here?
Might
The
be fired, right? No, it might be the possession.
That's the one.
Yeah,
Best Rock Metal Alternative Music Album, Dark Side of Blue. Best Rock Album, Mirrors and Dreamwaves.
yeah,
Best Rock Performance in April Sun in Cuba. And Best Rock Song, Fire and Ash, which is very impressive.
yeah. Five different freaking genres, right?
Mm. A lot of different genres.
Yeah,
You're like
yeah, and
ticking a
they
lot of boxes.
well, no, and it's by default. So we were in Japan, and this program director comes to see us play from a Japanese radio, like a big radio conglomerate,
Yeah.
and he tells the promoter that brought us out there, I really love these guys. I love their energy, and I want to get them on the radio. But it'd have to be a jazz song. Can they do a jazz song? If they can get that to me, I can get them on the radio. I told I told the promoter, I go, give me a studio, an analog studio. We'll track the song live, so it's not going to cost a lot. Bring me the best sax player you could find, and then I can play the piano, like on top of the track once the song's done.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And they loved it. Yeah.
I have to disagree with the best rock song though. Fire and
Yeah.
Ash. It's The Art of Letting Go.
Yeah. That got
I think that's
nominated.
fantastic.
That
Sorry?
got a that got one. That got a little bit of a pre-nom back in 2022 or 23, thanks to
Yeah.
Katie.
I love that song. That's fantastic. And the guitar in that is extremely good.
Thank you. You know what's crazy? I'm gonna tell you a funny story. And what's special about that album, okay? So, the band started with me and their session cat, and we went
Yeah.
around for a long time. And we had a falling out in one of the tours in Japan, which things happen, people grow out.
Yeah.
And we grew out because the lady that was doing management for us was egging him on that, he's this rock star and the superstar and that he doesn't need the band and all this and all this and all that. And I'm just sitting there, yeah, okay. And she calls me almost threatening me, going, you need to do this and this and that, because he makes the band. He is the band. If he's not in the band, you know, like your guitar skills are not going to be at the level to be able to hold the band up. I was like, I had already been in a two-piece band, bro. But I'm not going to argue. I go, all right, whatever. So he leaves the band. And I'm sitting in there because I remember we were cutting this new album that we had to do, and he had to do the lead guitar work in that, and he refused to do it.
Yeah.
He just would not show up to sessions and whatever it was. And I go, whatever. I'm gonna go work on another album. I had this offer from this label in Italy to go make a record.
Yeah.
So I went out there, and mind you, it's weird how these opportunities happen. So they fly me out. I'm thinking I'm going out to make a rock record. All of a sudden, they want an electronic pop record, and I'm all like, you know what? I'm a writer, just like with that jazz song. I don't care. Let's go there, you know. And it proved very frustrating because they wanted to go places. And listen, for me, I'll go weird places musically because I like to stretch to see how far the fabric of composing is.
Yeah.
So we went far out. I recorded the songs they wanted. They were looking after me. I stayed in Italy for like 3 months, bro. Good food, looked after like a little king. And, woke up every day, recorded, went to the studio. It was great. But now we had one day, and I met the session players that have been playing on these recordings, and they're incredible musicians. And I told the guys, I go, hey guys, I go, we got another 8 hours here in the studio. Why don't I ask them to let me just book the whole day entirely? And, people don't do night sessions anymore like they used to in the 80s and 90s, you know? Back in the day in LA, you could walk into any recording studio and go do a live session somewhere, you know? Like I could be drinking with you at the Viper Room, and then you're another composer. I go, hey, dude, let's go write a song. Fuck yeah, let's call the studio. Let's go. That was what it was like for me growing up. Still,
Yeah.
that's not a thing anymore. So whatever, I tell the boys, I go, let's just make a record, and they're like, well, do you have songs? I go, well, yeah, because every day I was writing a song for the session for these people. Uh, I was writing a rock song too, so I got enough songs for an album.
Yeah.
And so I went in there with these guys, and we just tracked it live. And so that's what makes that record cool. But what's cool about it, it was my first time stepping back in after, because with the Falling Doves, I didn't play a lot of the leads. I wrote some of them, but I didn't play them on the record. Um, so everything on that album, Art of Electric Dove is the name of that album, was recorded basically 70% live. I'm gonna say because there was a couple overdubs for the leads and some vocals, but that was like really great guitar work. And so it was great because I was getting more recognition for that album. And so I think the big sting, they thought I was gonna fail.
Yeah.
And I continued the fucking path as a three-piece, playing lead.
Excellent.
And I only play lead because I have to, not because I like it,
Yeah.
you know. I don't claim to be a lead guitarist, bro, but thank you. I'm glad you like that.
Oh, I love that. So last couple of questions. When are you coming back to the UK?
So, I've been renting a place out there. So I I go back there in March, March 31st on my birthday. Touring next year is going to be lighter because I feel like I've neglected the United States for 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
literally. So I've been spending all my time in Europe, Latin America, and Asia,
Yeah.
And so I haven't really been playing out here. I think things have changed a little bit here. Um, and I think they are ready for rock bands again. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna do what's called one-offs next year. I'm just gonna fly. I got an endorsement with a airline company, so I'm gonna use it. So I'm just gonna fly every. It's only for the U.S. The endorsement, but I can fly anywhere
Yeah.
in the U.S. So I'm gonna
Well,
go play
that's good.
Minneapolis. I'm gonna play New York. I'm gonna play Boston. I'm gonna play Washington. I'm gonna play Texas. I'm gonna play
Yeah.
everywhere that one-offs. But I'm just gonna fly in, play a show, come back home. Fly in, back.
Yeah. Because
So I'll
it'd be
be
cool if you're in the UK for us to meet up and have a drink and a proper chat.
Yeah, for sure. I will I will for sure probably do something there in the UK, but not a full tour. I think if
Yeah.
anything, I'm gonna come in and just do my little cavern show, maybe a cool little London show, and if
Yeah.
something else pops in, cool. But not a formal tour like I usually do.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
taking a
That'd be
little
cool.
break.
So my last question is my partner Tracy's question, which I'm starting to ask her every interview. Tell us something about you we don't know.
Me myself, probably the most interesting thing is that I was born in the mountains of Mexico in an indigenous village. We're indigenous people, where we would sleep on the floor, and we grew up with indigenous culture in the aspect of, not Christianity, but the belief of the gods into nature. Similar to the American Indians, where we have a god for the rain and a god for the. So there's that spiritual side. Um, on the other end of that part, my grandpa, I mean, it really was as country as you could go. I grew up uh, shooting guns, fucking neutering donkeys, and horses. So doing all the farm work,
Yeah.
being a cowboy and an Indian at the same time. So
That's
that's a little
fantastic.
part. Yeah, yeah. So I'm not never afraid to. You know what? And I appreciate the foundations of that because I remember, I traveled with a bunch of, like American cats in the first one of the first Falling Doves tours, and we were on a boat. And I remember I just laid down a mat and just slept on the floor because that's all we could afford at that time. But I would say the humility of growing up with the simplicity of things has
Yeah.
got me where I'm at now. Mind you, that story I told you was in 2010. I'm 45 years old now. I like a nice fancy hotel with a hot tub, bathtub, champagne, and room service. And I like to be driven to my shows or in a nice car. I've done all the crap. I've done the band. I've done it all. So now that I can afford it,
Yeah.
like
True.
the I like the nice
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've earned that. You've earned that right.
No, I'm fucking spoiled now, bro. I'm gonna tell you that. I've been very well looked after now. So it's very
Yeah.
hard to go back. Can I do it? Sure. Do I want to? No.
But of course, going back to your spirituality, can't say it. It's probably where your bluesy sort of writing comes from, is having that being in touch with the nature side.
Yeah, a little bit about that came. I think I've been throughout my career, man, and I think about it sometimes. And I remember a friend of mine, I took him to hang out with some friends of mine, and I also don't realize the depth of the friends that I have. But I think that sometimes, if you get into writers, Bukowski or one of those fellas, they all hung out with other writers. You got your Jack Londons, your Lord Byrons, all those fellas, right? Some of them hung out together,
Yeah.
and but they hung out together just to share ideas, but not the glamorization of each other's work, right?
Yeah.
Just sharing ideas. And so a friend of mine came out to hang out with me up in LA, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe that that's that dude, that this and this. And in my head, I didn't, because I don't think of people like that. And some
Yeah.
of my friends, that have never been around certain celebrities that are writers or other creatives lose their freaking head. But for me, they're just people, you know? So I think the most beautiful thing that's happened in my career, I'm gonna give you four incredible people that have done something for me without doing something for me, with just a simple exchange of humanity.
Yeah.
Um, One of the first big people besides the Rembrandts and all those cats, and we're going to go into British lore. Um, Noel Gallagher came to this radio station. This radio DJ brought me in there to meet him. I got to spend a little time with him, and he talked to me about monitors. He gave me four pieces of advice. He told me, don't trust the sound guy. Make sure you can hear yourself on stage. He said, don't believe the crap you read about yourself in papers. That will rot your brain.
Yeah.
And he said something else derogatory, which I'm not going to repeat here. And in true Mancunian spirit, right? Um, Johnny Marr on the other end, told me always just be a nice guy. It takes no effort to be a nice person. He got me my first pick endorsement with Ernie Ball, Gentleman. Richard Ashcroft from The Verve told me, if you want to become a great northern like soul songwriter, you got to move to the north so you can understand why we write the lyrics we do and how we do it.
Yeah,
And that's why I moved to Liverpool, so I could learn um, the beat of the city, the echoes of the streets, the 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 right from the shadows of the brick walls of the post-war era. And so you can't feel that, or understand what it's like until you're walking around the council streets and
yeah,
feeling that part of the city. Then we get into Ian McCulloch from Echo and the Bunnymen. He said, you always have to stick to what you do, whether people like it or not. It's you. You are what you are, and you are who you are, and the music you make is what you make, and you got to always remember that that's your signature, whether you like it or not. Don't change that.
yeah, yeah,
So, that's what I got from these people, like man to man, just like you and I are sitting here talking.
yeah.
And that to me is probably the most valuable lesson, on this side. And you know what? I'm going to throw in Lemmy too, because he is one of you, one of your
Right,
people.
yeah,
And Lemmy, came to one of my early shows when I was about 23, 24, and he told me, never lose the leather jacket, kid. He's like, you lose that leather jacket, and like, you lost who you are. I still wear, my leathers,
yeah.
bro. Never
Well,
lose who you are. You walk in and
well,
you got
the
the,
only nugget that I can give you from Sheffield is a very well-known Sheffield saying, which I'll say slowly, then I'll explain what it means. Don't deedar me, deedar the sen, and see how Dar likes it. And that basically means don't say that about me, say that about yourself and see if you like it.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, man. Thank you. Well, I also appreciate you making the time to say hi, chat, and then just revisit some of these memories with me and the patience
Yeah.
between the lawnmower and all the naughtiness out here.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I can't wait to hopefully meet you next year. And
You
thank you
will.
very much for your time.
I'll be out there, and it's a pleasure. And keep rocking, and have a wonderful, wonderful day, my brother.